were simple. In a world where there are thousands of rappers all vying for position, it's his marketing capabilities and the buzz he built around himself that made it possible.
I'm getting myself into the room with these people for reasons other than my music. I wouldn't have been able to be in those rooms if it was just based on the status I had as an artist at that time. But the services I'm offering these artists were in such need by their labels that the labels are hiring me. I figured, what the hell do I need a label for if they need me?
But it's fair to say that by then, this ability to snake everything he did to go viral was tapering off, and sadly for Mabu, the release of his debut album was about to confirm that the novelty of his initial run was something he couldn't recapture. And worse than that, the album, which didn't chart, was regarded as one of the worst of the entirety of 2025.
All the biting, all the cultural robbery, all that stuff that you can apply to Ian, it also applies even more to Lil Mabu. He seems blissfully unaware of just how gross his existence in the world of drill music is, and how far his white privilege, if you want to call it that, has taken him. He says, I wasn't supposed to make it this far. I'm talking racially. You're a fucking young white boy who was not born into destitution. You literally were supposed to make it, and you are fucking making it.
The bit is old, bro. He has one joke in his music, and it's, look, I'm a rich white kid, but I'm making music like I'm from the hood, while having the worst bars, corniest lyrics, cringiest vocals, and just overall having the tackiest songs ever. I genuinely don't understand who's listening to this. Lil Mabu should make skits with the songs he makes instead of being an actual rapper. With the joke officially running thin, Mabu stepped away from the spotlight, revealing that it was a conscious decision on his part, and in the process, he let his true character spill out once more.
Artists I look up to start becoming my friends, gaining notoriety, cool, but at what cost? I wasn't spending time with my family, I neglected meaningful friendships, I lost valuable moments of my childhood that I can't get back. I decided at the beginning of the summer to find some balance. So I hung out with my friends before all my buddies go off in different directions, and I spent a lot of time with my pops, my mom, my sister, and I got some rest. But I'm back, I was feeling great, but I recognized that everything comes at a cost.
Seemingly admitting that he wasn't who he said he was, this earned comparisons to people like Slim Jesus, albeit a much richer version. Hailing from Frank Block in Hamilton, Ohio, Slim styled himself as a drill rapper, only for him to later reveal that his rhymes didn't mirror reality.
How involved were you streetwise in terms of...
Streetwise, like, I mean, for the most part on the street shit, like, I got homies that are in that shit, and I know people who are, and people around me. I mean, I haven't, like, I'm not out here catching bodies and shit, obviously. Like, I'm fucking smart.
Once that seal was broken and the excitement wore off, it was impossible for him to recover. And now, it looks like there are some similarities. Just look at how King Yella discusses them.
Are you familiar with Lil Mabu?
The little white kid from New York doing the drill shit. The only one. He's hard.
Yeah, you familiar with it? Bro, he's staging because he went to like a really nice private school in New York City, and then he's staging protests. Like he had people like holding signs, like protesting him being in the school and stuff.
Young and finessing the system. He know what he doing.
Expert level
he
troll.
Capitalizing. He know already. He know. He set back when you young and you see shit already, or he got somebody marketing behind him that know what to do already. But he really know how to fucking rap. That kid know how to fucking rap his ass off.
Yella had seen this story play out before with Slim Jesus. Just like Mabu, Slim initially figured out how to game the system, but in the end, it all fell apart. Yella recognized the parallels, acknowledging that while Mabu was making it work for now, the clock was ticking just like it did for Slim.
It was not real at all. Everything, it was not real. So we had to figure out, we didn't want to shoot right here. It wasn't real. Like, how the fuck, I don't know how y'all finessed the camera to make it look like this was a real hood. Wasn't nothing going on.
In this regard, King Yella saw both similarities and differences. Mainly that Mabu has way more room to fail than Slim ever did.
I think Slim Jesus was not in on the joke so much, whereas Lil Mabu seems like he totally gets it and he's playing the system like very expertly.
And he know how to move. He's a rich white kid. Yeah. He's not going
Slim
over
Jesus
there.
A broke ass white kid from.
I think Slim Jesus probably still got a little money.
Yeah.
Slim Jesus put up some numbers. He let them people get in his ear, man, and that's when he fucked his career up, man.
In this sense, Mabu's rise is probably more comparable to another artist, Ian. Like Mabu, he's a suburban white kid whose music is deeply connected to a culture far from his own experience. And just like Mabu, Ian's time in the spotlight seems to be fading fast.
He's a Dallas rapper who's kind of popping off right now, and I kind of feel like he and the music he's pushing is one of the biggest so what's I've heard come out of the music industry in a while. Here's the appeal of Ian in a nutshell. He essentially rips off Playboy Cardi mercilessly, as well as Lil Baby, the auto-tune on their voice, his vocal inflections, and he does this while pretty much flexing the fact that he's just your average white bro. Like, oh man, he's doing the had to do it to him meme, oh man, oh my gosh. The real joke of Valedictorian is that Ian is trying to build a career off of just bluntly ripping off his contemporaries and just passing in a carbon copy of their work without putting his own personality or spin on it at all.
When he was at the top of his game, Mabu evaded contracts and insisted that he could maintain the success he'd achieved single-handedly.
You know, over the summer, I've gotten some crazy offers and deals I could have entered into, but I told them, guess what? I'm going to college. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Mabu, you understand, like, you're not a regular kid, you need to devote all your time to your career, you want to take the music seriously. Fuck you, watch this. I managed to do all of it while doing the music thing, so why would I pass this opportunity up now? For what? I can do both.
But now he's probably wishing he'd cashed in when he could, as these days, while at college in Atlanta, Mabu already seems to know that rapping wasn't feasible in the long run.
Are you at Emory?
Yeah, I'm at Emory.
Is that where you go to school?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, cool. I thought you were going to school in New York for some reason.
I did, yeah. I went to college in Atlanta.
Nice, man, that's super dope. I love that you're showing you can be in college and still have a full-on career. I'm sure that's very difficult.
Yeah.
But you make it look easy, so.
Got a ministry. 2 lives.
And you're fully independent, right?
Yeah, fully.
So you're an independent artist.
Yeah, this is the label. What's that career day today?
Oh, yeah?
Just out looking for a job.
Oh, okay, that's cool, man. Yeah.
But that hasn't stopped him from trying to recapture the old string of luck with viral moments. At one point, he even almost shot himself, but some people even thought that was a cynical stunt. Bro is not Cheddar Bob. All the while, his monthly listeners are in freefall, dropping from 8.1 to 2 million on Spotify, while on YouTube, tracks like Young Kraka and the widely clowned Oppie Day have the lowest views of any of his content since King of the World 3 years prior. Desperate for attention, he's not pretending to be gay purely for clout, and asking his followers if they'd still support him if he was homosexual. But for Mabu, it's not the need for bigger viral moments that matters. The reason why he's failing is due to the lack of authenticity, as well as the overarching downfall of the subgenre. Bro came with a gimmick and a good sound, but drill's dying. You can't play a character in rap. It was good shock value, but unless he pivots, he won't make it. Considering he's just 19 years of age, Mabu has every opportunity to regroup. But ultimately, a man of his memes not making it as a rapper isn't exactly a tragedy. While Lil Mabu's time is running out, for Matthew DeLuca, there is no shortage of opportunities. Now at college and with a rich family to fall back on, hip-hop was never the only route for him to succeed, in the way that it was for those drill rappers he emulated. While at the same time, he has been able to do and say things that would haunt a kid from a less privileged background. But for him, it'll be easy enough to be forgotten as he assimilates back into the upper class culture he spent his early life in. And unless he evolves musically back to something closer to this reality, then the days of Lil Mabu, the hip-hop star who sat somewhere between tribute and parody, are likely a thing of the past. It's your boy Luesta, and if you guys like this video, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Shut down. An ally has been slain.
Let go.
Killing spree. An enemy has been slain. Rampage. Your turret has been destroyed. Plating will fall soon. An ally has been slain.
spiny lobster, and this is a slipper lobster. And these are just 2 of the 75 lobster species you'll find around the world.
Today, I'm on a mission to eat every lobster in Asia.
They're not messing around here.
And by the end of this video,
that's a big fat beauty.
I'll be taking on the most expensive, most massive lobster that money can buy. But first, these guys, what many refer to as a freshwater lobster.
That being the crawfish. This is going to be the cheapest lobster-like creature we'll be eating all day, coming in at just 13 cents for one of these guys. There is just one small problem. This is not a lobster. Crawfish live in rivers, swamps, and lakes. They are freshwater creatures, whereas lobsters, they live in the ocean. So why am I including that? Because they have all the hallmarks of a lobster. First, in the front, 2 claws, vicious. In the back, a plump, juicy tail. In the middle, a big head, resembling that of a lobster. So basically the point is we're cheating a little bit because we wanted to include more foods in this lobster video.
Traditional Louisiana Cajun crawfish are tossed in a cayenne pepper-based boil. But in the hands of Chef Nikki, owner of the restaurant Cao Ba, that familiar recipe gets an Asian twist. First, she heats up a wok. She adds creamy butter and fragrant garlic oil. Then she fills the pan with plenty of crawfish, stirring thoroughly to let them absorb those rich flavors.
The advantage of the crawfish is that you can eat a lot without breaking your bank. They're way cheaper than lobsters, not as sweet, not meaty as the lobsters. However, if you know how to do it right, it's more fun to work with crawfish than lobsters.
For a little bit of heat and a little bit of sweet, Cajun season and sugarcane molasses. Now for the Asian twist. Lemongrass, lime leaves, fish sauce, pineapple, and fresh basil bring a hit of aromatic freshness.
Everything coming from this pot smells fresh and amazing. Here in Vietnam, they utilize everything. And so I want to see what is inside of this claw. I want to see if I can actually break it. There we go. That's legit. That is our first bite of the day. Oh, small but mighty. It is slightly sweet. It's just like you're barely getting the essence of the flavor of the crayfish. Yes, my body is yearning for something larger and more substantial, like my wife on our wedding night. Wait, what? I meant to talk to my therapist about that, not you guys. Let's move on to the tail meat. The proper way to eat this is you grab the tail, give it a little bit of a twist, then you suck the head. Oh my God, it's quite delicious. I actually do taste that Cajun seasoning. Now that I've sucked the soul out of that body, I'm gonna open up the tail. That is all the meat from one crawfish. That is so delicious. It's almost like a sweet Cajun glaze. There's familiar flavors, but also something new. I'm getting overwhelming sweetness from the pineapple, and I'm getting fresh aromatics from the lemongrass. It's something completely different. It does have a little bit of that lobstery sweetness, but since it's fresh water, it also has some minerality to it too. So it's fairly different from a lobster. I almost wish they could grow a bigger size version of crawfish. Wait.
There's a long lineup of lobsters that I'm gonna try in this video, ranging from a few bucks to a few $100s. Some are grilled, while others aren't cooked at all.
That's not something you see every day.
But before that, let's check out these small but mighty lobsters that cost 8 times more than the crawfish.
Our next lobster option is right here, the langoustine. These guys cost about $2.40 a piece. Now, these guys are more expensive per pound than the average American lobster, and that's because they're elusive, hard to catch.
Langoustines thrive in the cold waters of the North Atlantic Ocean, burrowing into the seabed up to half a mile deep.
These particular guys are from Ireland. You could tell because of their Irish accent.
Your voice is in me DMs, hey baby!
The langoustine is indeed part of the lobster family. They do have claws, and they have delicious meat in their tail. The next step is to turn them into something delicious.
Right after being caught, these langoustines are parboiled, flash frozen, and shipped to restaurants all around the world. Soon these guys will be transformed into an elegant ceviche. After peeling, the langoustines get a sprinkle of salt and pepper, followed by a drizzle of olive oil. A quick torch adds a touch of smokiness while keeping the inside raw and delicate. Next, the flavors are elevated with fresh lemon zest and a pinch of chili powder. And a little more olive oil. Now onto the sauce. Fresh green apple and amaretto juice are extracted, then gently heated and seasoned with a touch of sugar and salt. With all the elements ready, it's time for the assembly. A bed of pomelo pulp serves as the base for our Irish langoustines. Each is crowned with a dollop of caviar. Delicate agar-agar jelly is added for texture, followed by a flourish of edible flowers. For a final touch, the pesto sauce is mixed with the green juice before being poured over the dish.
I don't want to ruin it by eating it. It's so gorgeous. There's flowers on it. It looks like it was put together by children with small hands, but actually it was made by a full-sized dude. Thanks, Chef Dude. Here's the thing, langoustine, I have had it raw, plucked straight from the ocean. It was so good. But here what they've done is added a lot more flavor. My idea is to use my fork and hand together and position it in my mouth. Oh, that's very good. Fascinating because it has been partially cooked, but it really does still feel raw. It doesn't feel plump or dense like a fully cooked langoustine. The flavors, fruity, a little bit sour, and then you get that rich hit of caviar as well. People oftentimes compare the langoustine to shrimp, but to me it tastes like something completely all its own. This, my friends, is the langoustine.
Soon we'll reveal which lobster is the biggest and most expensive of the day. But before we get to that, we've got this oddball that looks less like a lobster and more like a steampunk Roomba.
They're known as slipper lobsters, and inside this tank we have 2 different species. Let's start with the small one. Oh, it's flat. It looks like it got ran over by an 18-wheeler. Instead of having the long antenna like a spiny lobster, it has this, a flat, flappy antenna right in front of its eyeballs.
Those flat antennas help them burrow into the sea floor, making them experts in camouflage. Though they're found worldwide, these lobsters were caught right here in Vietnam.
The price for one of these little guys is $18.50. Wowza. And that's for the little one. Let's go check out the big one. This one's gonna be rowdy. Yeah, buddy. This is the big version of what we just saw. For one guy like this, it costs $117. I'm gonna try to open his tail. Let's see what happens. Scared the shit out of me. This right here is what we're after. That big, beautiful, juicy tail. Here you can see a size comparison between the 2 different lobsters. This one, absolutely massive. This one, petite, cute, and can I say, more affordable. We're gonna be eating 2 different species of slipper lobster, and they're gonna prepare them in 2 different ways.
Start by infusing hot water with lemongrass and lime leaves. Drop in both species of slipper lobster, then simmer for 10 minutes, allowing the bright aromas to seep through their shells. When all the lobsters turn the same shade of orange, they're ready for the next step. Split them open and reveal the tender, succulent meat inside. I'll be tasting the expensive red slipper lobster soon, but first the smaller, cheaper slipper lobster. In a pan, the chef melts butter and tosses in onions, carrots, and crispy bacon, allowing them to lightly saute. He enriches the mixture with water, milk, whipped cream, egg yolk, sugar, and a roux. Whisk it until the flavors come together, forming a thick, creamy, bacony spread. Generously coat the lobster with this rich cream, then sprinkle on a layer of cheese. Bake them in the oven for 10 minutes until the cheese melts, forming a golden crust. All that's left is to plate them up and serve.
This is a preparation that's not just loved in Vietnam, it's adored. People love to put cheese on seafood. For the smaller lobster, I would say this is fairly substantial. Wow, they're not messing around here. That is delicious. It's very creamy and it's sweet. It's almost like putting a melted cheesecake on your lobster. Cheesy, creamy, I've got some of that bacon in there. The taste of that cream and the cheese, it mingles so well with the lobster itself. The lobster is sweet, it has a lovely texture. It's slightly tender, slightly stringy. These are addictive. And if I keep eating this, I'm gonna need some lobster rehab for sure. It's so new, it's so different, it's so Vietnamese. It's like a bacony, lobstery marshmallow. Very addictive, very delicious, very affordable compared to this guy right here.
This is one of Vietnam's classic seafood preparations. Place the freshly boiled premium slipper lobster on the grill shell side down. Sauce them with a blend of sweet and savory scallion oil, infused with chili sauce, pepper, MSG, and crushed peanuts. A sprinkle of crispy fried shallots adds a light oniony aroma and satisfying crunch. This red slipper lobster meat is said to be sweeter than the velvet lobster, hence the heftier price tag. I'll see for myself if it's really worth it.
This is the red slipper lobster, the most expensive one, costing $117. That means it's nearly $60 for this half. I'm gonna dig my fork in there. We're looking for a successful extraction. Let's go. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, it's got some weight to it. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's give it a shot. On this lobster, that meat, it's a little bit more dense. It's a mouthful. You've got that natural oceanic sweetness of the lobster pairing perfectly with that shallot oil and those fried shallots. It's like a little bit of bitter and a little bit of sweet together. What I like, and I think David Attenborough echoes the same sentiment, is that there are creatures of the sea that sometimes you see and you think, maybe I shouldn't eat that, but actually, you should. Right, David Attenborough? He would agree.
As we move on to our fifth contender, the lobsters are only getting bigger and more expensive. Here, a rare beauty, gifted to us by the deep coastal waters of Australia.
The Australian red lobster, coming in at $130 a piece. First of all, this lobster is far different from any lobster we've seen so far today. Just look at its incredible body. No claws, but in a way it makes up for the lack of claw meat with these right here. Its big, long, spidery legs. But what we're after is this right here. That big, beautiful muscle, you can almost see it through its translucent skin. The muscle within the tail is the most prized part of this creature. My favorite part of these lobsters is absolutely not this part. My favorite part about these lobsters is how badass they look. Their eyes are easily protected by these giant spikes that protrude over each eyeball. Beyond that, it's got spikes all over its body. It's got spikes on its antennas. The whole thing is a spiky mess that if you mess with, could easily leave you damaged or leave your skin torn from your body. Here's the most important thing. Because these guys grow up in deep, frigid, cold waters, their meat is firm, fatty, succulent, and delicious. These are one of Australia's most expensive seafood exports, and they're prized as a luxury item in countries like China and here in Vietnam.
To prepare the Australian red lobster, first remove its meaty tail, snip off its legs, then separate what's known as the throat from the carapace and cut it into smaller pieces. Now let's get to cooking. In a pot, fry up some red onions, white onions, garlic, and chilies. Next, drop in the lobster throat, add some cooking wine, and set it on fire. Let that steam rise, then add the lobster head. Fill the pot with water and let it simmer. Drop in the lobster tail and legs, letting them cook in those fragrant flavors. When it's ready, immediately ice the tail and legs to ensure the perfect texture. Now here's my favorite part. The chef expertly handles the meat extraction, so later I can sit back and enjoy with no hassle. The tail shell is removed effortlessly, and the leg meat is extracted with surgical precision. Now back to the soup. Take out the carapace and set it to the side. Strain the soup and continue to simmer, adding sliced bamboo shoots, river leaf creepers, and salt. Now for the assembly. In a soup plate, arrange the bamboo shoots. Place the creepy river leaves in the center. Nestle the lobster tail right on top, then add the carapace for visual appeal and price justification. Place the leg meat on the edge of the plate, then pour in the soup. For the finishing touch, add in a few drops of chili oil, cilantro oil, and basil oil.
Our Australian red lobster course has arrived and it looks opulent, amazing. Visually, the leg meat as it's laid out now looks awesome. This is the first thing I'm going to try. Let's give it a shot. It's a very unique texture. It's a little bit dense and succulent, that's for sure. Beyond the tail and the legs, of course, we have the giant head right here. The inside of the head is full of what's known as tamale, and they've used that to create kind of a lobster stock for the broth here. There we go. There we go. Not awkward. Oh, that's delicious. A A very clean, simple, straightforward broth. It tastes like these leaves they put inside. It tastes a little bit like the bamboo shoots, and then of course the essence of lobster. Now it's really time to take apart this masterpiece and see what it's like inside. Oh, that makes sense. I thought this would be harder to remove. Oh God, this is it right here. Now talk about dense. This is certainly not a sinewy, falling apart tail. That is a solid piece of meat. That's what my wife said on our first date. I took her to a steak restaurant. Oh my gosh, it is Snow White pure indulgence. Oh yeah, baby. The flavors of the soup are very mild, and then you're just getting the true natural flavors of the lobster, which are sweet and decadent, but still a bit subtle. Oh man, I hate this job. It's tough. This, excellent. Different from any food we've had so far. It is a soup, and perhaps the only lobster soup we'll be experiencing today.
Our next lobster flew halfway across the world to join us. And the best part, he's still alive.
Oh, this right here is the American lobster. This guy weighs in at over 6 pounds, and he costs over $160. How much?